Hi there. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet podcast for women who wonder. Frankly, as we go through life, I'm sure we wonder about a great deal. First as little kids, then as adolescents, then as young women, then as transitional women. What are we calling ourselves these days? And then you get to this point in life, or my point in life, when you're postmenopausal and wondering what's next. Wondering if the parade already passed you by. Join me, Wonder Wendy. I'm going to be your host as we talk about some of these unique challenges that face women today in a new millennium, going through menopause and trying to live a rich, full life. There might even be a few men and younger women that want to listen in too. That's okay. But there's a roller coaster and we're all on it. And I'm going to be your guide to help you figure out when you should close your eyes, when you should hang on, and maybe we'll explore some ideas for what works for you if it doesn't work for me, or vice versa. So join the conversation, pick up your favorite beverage, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet.
Hey there, bucket listers. I am coming to you from Walt Disney World today. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see I'm wearing my brand new mini Mickey or Minnie Mouse ears, depending on which one you call it. But these are from the land of tomorrow because I'm staying at the Contemporary Resort and I'm wearing my button because this year we are celebrating the fact that I will be turning 60 this year. And that is part of the reason this trip is so special. We are staying at the Contemporary Resort. Anyway, so here I am, Walt Disney World. There's wind, there's ravens, which are kind of freaking me out. And I am standing on a balcony. It's real life. So if you hear trains or steamboat whistles or children screaming, or if that raven decides to come back and talk to me again, you're going to get a little extra entertainment in this episode. And I realized this episode had to be recorded just the other day while I was standing in line for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride. I actually started writing down notes about what I wanted to tell you and what I'd realized being here at Disney World. Now, this isn't just an episode about Disney World because it's about that child that lives inside each and every one of us and deserves a little love and attention. And quite frankly, if you let that child out, you're going to be a better human being. So it's been a little while since most of us queenagers were kids, and I want you to know that things like Disney World, they aren't just nostalgia. They're a living, breathing part of you. And I do have notes because there was so much I want to talk about that I had to write some things down. And hopefully my papers won't fly away while I'm talking to you. Now, the first time I came to Disney World, it was 1970 something. And I was about 10 years old. I know because I know what my haircut was that time. And that was so long ago that they had ticket books instead of these lovely bands that we wear now. You had to really carefully plan which e-ride you were going to take because you only got one or two of those. You got a lot more A tickets and a lot more B tickets and C and D, but you had to figure out which one you wanted. That was a one-day visit. This was a new concept. I don't know that I'd even really understood there was a Disney World. So my parents brought me here for that one day. And as we took the monorail to get to the Magic Kingdom, it slid through this magical hotel, the Contemporary Resort. Yeah, I know. And at that point, I looked up and I went, I want to stay there someday. That's a hotel. And I said that the same way I say, wouldn't it be cool to go to the moon? Like, I never really expected for it to happen. But life kept happening, and I visited Disney World again. But that time we didn't even stay on Disney World because, again, expenses, economics. I was young. We were starting a new life together as a 20-something. And every time I came, I'd say, I want to stay there. I want to stay there. Now, as I got older and my economics changed, we would look at the Contemporary Resort and it would never be available. It was the strangest thing. Every time we were coming, the convention and booked the whole place out. Well, this trip happened. And that too expensive and fully booked message went away because guess what? There were rooms available. My husband said, wait, how much does it cost? And I said, hey, You said we were going to celebrate my 60th birthday for a full year. This is part of my 60th birthday. And he went, okay. So the room was booked. By the way, I hope you have your beverage, so this is a more convivial conversation. Mine's in a lovely Disney cup sitting on the floor because I don't have an extra table out here. So you won't see me drinking my beverage on this episode, but I have one and I hope you do too. Okay, so fast forward. We've booked the room. We've planned the trip. I know what's going to happen. I know we're doing it. It's not a surprise by any measure. And we're driving across Florida, stop at a convenience store, get a Mountain Dew. Pull into Disney World. There's that big arch over the road that says, "Welcome to Walt Disney World." And I was thrilled beyond belief to see that sign. It was great. And as we drove in, I saw the Contemporary Resort. We were driving towards it. I've never seen it from this perspective. We were always on the monorail or seeing it from Magic Kingdom. So here I am, looking at Contemporary Resort, and I am practically vibrating. I mean, I don't know if it was the Mountain Dew or the excitement, but my husband didn't know what to do with me. He hasn't seen me that hyper in a really long time. It was like glee. So even with the employees, I walk in and I'm looking at them going, "Hi, we're booked here at the Contemporary Resort. It's really exciting." And you know what? They didn't judge me. They didn't look strangely at me. They said, "It's so exciting to see you that happy." And it makes me realize, how often do we regulate our happiness? When do we start regulating our visible joy? We start being competent and stop being so alive. You know, competent is beautiful, but competent is not the same as being alive. So here we are. Like I said, this is about the inner child. And while this is my personal story, I want you to find your own personal story and your own way to live this dream. So we get up to our floor and we're received by a lovely concierge. And I happen to spot on her desk, she has a couple buttons for people, like the one I'm wearing here, this button. And I say, "Can I have a birthday button? It's not actually my birthday, but this trip is celebrating my 60th birthday, which is coming up faster than I'd like to admit." And she said, "Of course." And she said, "Wait, you're turning." So she wrote on my button, and I'll post pictures, but you can probably see a little bit, 60. And then she put in quotes, "Ears young. Wonder Wendy." I love this button. I love this button so much. I was gleeful. I was laughing. We settled into our room and we headed off to explore. Now, as we started exploring, we went to Epcot because I knew Epcot had extra magic hours that night. Things get a lot quieter after the regular public leaves. If you're staying on grounds, you get to stay a little bit later, and it's really a lot less crowded. So much less crowded that the last ride I went on, which is about launching into space, it's a simulated space launch, I went on alone. Because Skip gets motion sickness, and that's one of the ones that has a motion sickness warning. And it's a well-deserved motion sickness warning. You really have to pay attention to not get sick. And I did follow the directions, and I didn't get sick. But anyway, I digress. I'm walking into a Disney ride, and I'm walking full pace. I'm not walking behind anybody. As a matter of fact, there's nobody else walking in with me. And I get up to the attendant, and there's nobody else waiting. And she escorts me into the waiting room where you get your pre-launch briefing. The doors close. I'm standing in a room that's designed for 50 people? And I'm standing there alone. Totally alone. And it's kind of creepy and kind of cool all at the same time to just focus on yourself, enjoy your own journey, And I did enjoy my own journey. So I take the ride. The ride ends. Once again, that eerie feeling of exiting in a landscape where there's nobody else on the ride. But as I get to the exit door, there are 3 cast members standing there all together who, as soon as I come into sight, start singing happy birthday to me. I was grinning like that Cheshire cat in Alice in Wonderland. It was the most amazing experience. And here's what I learned reflecting on that. Not just honoring my childhood joy, but thinking about midlife invisibility. How often do we feel just as alone as I did standing in that briefing room? That room where I see 49 other dots where people are supposed to be standing, but I'm alone, waiting to go on this journey. And you feel like you're all alone. But if you invite other people in by maybe wearing a button or introducing yourself or just getting out there, suddenly they come into your world and they bring more to your world because you invite them in. How much of our midlife invisibility has more to do with us forgetting that we need to invite people in, forgetting that our joy is ours to increase. Our wonder is ours to increase by sharing it. One of those resources that the more you share it, the more you get. Don't you love that? So I was visible, not because I was younger, not because I was anything special, just because I invited connection. I asked, can I have a button? I proudly wore it. I smiled at the greeters, the cast members. That's what they call them. And it was amazing. You know, I'm really pleased I did that. Because in life, we're going to have a lot of solo launches. And not everyone's going to be on that journey with you. But strap in anyway. And invite others to come along. And sooner or later, they're going to catch up. And they'll be singing their hearts out. And you're going to have a great time. I promise you. Well, I'd kept my husband out till midnight, our first night here. And as we discussed before, he's not a morning person, not by any measure. So the next morning, I busted a move and I was there as they opened the gates in the Magic Kingdom. Because I am that girl. I do remember when they used to have fireworks and all sorts of things when they started and opened in the morning, and they don't do that anymore, which is a teeny bit disappointing. But life is about moving forward sometimes. Can't always keep everything the same. And I have to admit, the thrill of the people entering first thing in the morning, they are moving quite fast. I don't think they encourage running, but we're walking briskly to get to that first magical ride that you want to go on. Now, the thing about getting there first thing in the morning is the lines haven't had a chance to get long. So you can often get on that ride like Space Mountain or Tron much quicker than you can in the middle of the day and without a pass of any sort that expedites your line. So I bust a move right over there to Space Mountain. You can see it behind me if you're watching the video. And I get there. It's closed. Darn it. Space Mountain is occasionally closed for maintenance issues. So I turn and I look, and this new ride, well, new to me, Tron, is open. And the line is about 30 minutes. Well, in Disney World terms, that's nothing, right? So I jump in that line. Now, this is another line that has warnings like nobody's business. I mean, warnings about neck posture, back posture, motion sickness. Really, what does a 60-year-old woman have a business doing on this thing? But you know what? I've been doing my yoga. I didn't get motion sickness on the space ride last night. My papers are trying to run away, so I can't read my notes anymore because of this breeze. That's on a side. And I decided to do it anyway. Again, as a solo rider. And I get in there. This ride is so extreme, they won't even let me keep my fanny pack on. It has to go in a locker. I'm a little bit intimidated, but okay, I'm here. I'm committed. My knees go in. I bend forward. I grab the handlebars. It grabs me in, and it's time to go. Now there's that first moment when the ride moves forward and it's dark. And before it starts, you have a moment of stillness, a moment to contemplate your choices and think, wait, what am I doing? But you know what? You're already hitched in. And by that point, there's no changing your mind. And before you can have a second thought of regret, launch, you are going full force. There's wind in your face and it's exciting. And it was exciting. And it was smooth and it was amazing. And again, I am so glad I did it. Remember, in our queenager phase, we are forward leaning, just like I am in that ride. Assume the proper posture, hold on to the handlebars, and let yourself be settled in tight. And if it means you have to leave your bag behind, it's okay. It's safely in a storage locker. That's how we need to lead our lives. Shed ourselves of what doesn't serve us at that moment. Assume the perfect posture for that moment. Take a deep breath and enjoy the ride. You know, you can't do this passively. You have to invite people in. We've already been discussing that. So here's this inner child gleefully living her life. Night 2. Now, because we're up here, as I said, you can see the Space Mountain from our room. Because we're up here, I can see the fireworks from our room if I want to. But there's something about being down there in the middle of things to watch the fireworks that is so very, very special. So I asked my husband, please, let's go down. Let's watch the fireworks from the ground level. And we did. Now, it isn't comfortable. You're standing, waiting for it to start, crowded with other people. But I chose to be immersed in this moment, and I was rewarded. Now, there's something very sappy about me. Fireworks at the Disney fireworks at the Magic Kingdom inevitably make me cry. It's just so sweet. Not like a sad cry, like I'm still grinning. Again, that Cheshire Cat ear. It's amazing. But I always cry. And as the fireworks started, I had not a tear. I thought, usually this happens earlier. And as I'm watching, the first time they talk about wishes and what's inside of you and living your dreams, oh, there it is. I've cracked a leak. There's a tear rolling down my cheek. And then there's another one and another one. And before long, my makeup is completely gone. I am crying like nobody's business. And it feels amazing because I'm still smiling. And the little girl next to me on her daddy's shoulders is calling out the name of every character as it appears on the castle. And I could have been annoyed, but she said it with such magic and awe that it just added to my happiness because I felt like she was me. A little part of me was going, Mulan, Elle, Belle, not Elle. You know what I mean. All those characters that we've loved for many, many years now. And by the end, I wasn't just choked up. I had some shuddering breaths of tears. Shuddering, practically orgasmic. Is that possible? Yeah, it is. Because it touched my soul and left me with such an amazed happiness that I was thrilled to be there. Totally thrilled. Now, I believed as a child things would be okay. Because most of the times they were. And I hope for you that your life was likewise. And if it wasn't, it's never too late to start believing again. I didn't give up. Just like all of the Disney heroines that had to overcome adversity, shit's happened. Shit's gone sideways. But we learn from those Disney characters, whether it's the monkeys and apes and Tarzan, or Mulan, or the Aristocats, that we can overcome adversity, and there are people who love us. And we have to remember that. Again, while this story happened for me at Walt Disney World, it doesn't have to be a Disney story. This has to do with you allowing yourself to be moved, you allowing yourself to see that child within. That's where the magic happens. That magic happens within you. It can be inspired by, as I call him, Uncle Walt and Walt Disney properties or seeing a Disney movie. But it also can be inspired by going to the park and playing Frisbee or allowing yourself to fly a kite. When was the last time you went and flew a kite? Because I'm thinking about that because of Mary Poppins. Let's go fly a kite. Allow your childlike wonder to happen. When you look at an amazing food buffet, don't go, oh, it's food. Go, oh, look at the beautiful colors. Look at the beautiful flavors. Oh my goodness, they're my favorite tater tots, whatever it might be. What brings out that child in you, and how can you celebrate that child? You don't need Disney. A castle's nice, but you don't need it. You don't need fireworks. Again, they're not even for everybody. Some people are scared of them, and I totally respect that too. And you don't need anyone else's permission. So today, from Walt Disney World, I encourage you to go take an art class, put on those sparkly earrings, take a sunset drive, take an extra minute to sip your coffee and really taste it, or whatever beverage it is you're drinking. Maybe you put on a pair of roller skates and experience a level of freedom you haven't had in a very long time. But at our age, please make sure you wear the appropriate padding and take the appropriate precautions, because we can be a little more brittle than we used to be. And maybe it's singing loudly. Turn on the tunes and dance like nobody's watching. That's something else I found myself doing since I decided to embrace my inner child at Disney World. When I'm walking down Main Street and there's music playing, I am moving my body to the music like nobody's watching. And I don't know if anyone is, because they're all looking at their own things and they're all doing their own thing. And if they are looking, I hope they're experiencing a little bit of joy. And I hope you just heard that train whistle behind me, because it's another little piece of the magic. So the circumstances really don't determine the magic. It's your willingness to participate that does. So maybe you've put yourself in a responsible box. You've decided, I need to be this person. You've grown up. And like Peter Pan said, don't ever grow up. You've been productive, and it's been really good that you've gotten these things done. It's helped you get to where you are. But don't live in that box. And oh, how about that don't be too much box? That voice that says, don't dance down the street because somebody might judge you. I hope you're thinking the same words I am for that person who's being judgy. Forget you. It's a different F word, but you know what I mean. That child inside of you, she never left. I want you to dig her out. Excavate that child within you. Don't reinvent yourself again. Find who you were, because that joy, that magic will be a catalyst. It will help every day seem more wonderful. Yeah, here in Disney World, the word wonder comes up a whole lot, and it makes me really happy. Live in wonder every single day, no matter where you are. So, bucket listers, stop numbing yourself out. Stop living in a box. I want you to feel fully, whether it's today, just for a few minutes, or an hour. If you have the whole day, go do it. Do something fun, or at least take a few minutes and embrace that child. You wouldn't not hug your children for a day. Hug yourself. Cry, grin. Oh, and how many years old are you? Doesn't really matter, because you are years young. So here's to you from Disney World. You are not aging out. You are expanding. Mhm. And however many years young you are, that is a wonderful place to stand. So if this episode made you think of somebody, please share it and maybe share a beverage at the same time, because everything is more convivial when we share a beverage. But I'm wishing you a wonderful week, embracing the child within you. Take care.
Like what you heard here today? Then we should be friends. I suggest you join my Facebook group. It's a good way to connect. We can have a conversation. Ask me questions, whatever you want to do. It is called the Wonderful Bucket List Life. That's Wonder-Full Bucket List Life. Be a bucket lister and join me on this adventure. Or you can go to my webpage, which is Wonder Wendy and Friends. Join the mailing list, learn about the book I wrote, adventures that are coming up in the future, and other podcasts. I look forward to talking to you soon, and stay hydrated. Have a great day.